Everyone, it is Kiki Garcia from 93.3 The Q, Carlos and Kiki in the morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am super excited about the guest we have. It is Veronica Roth from the Divergent series. That's right, the author is here with us today because it's a pretty big deal. 10 years since all of this started. It's hard to believe it has been that long already.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little bit old. I think the first time a fully grown adult came in the signing line and they were like, "I read your books as a child." I had a little existential crisis.
Oh my God, isn't that crazy? I get that too. Like people will come up and they'll be like, "I grew up listening to you on the radio." And I'm like, "What?"
That's nice.
You know? So what do you think it is about the Divergent series that really just struck a chord with young adults and adults too?
It's hard to say with anything like why it catches on, but I do think like the characters are kind of what people cling to as time goes on, but also like the book is like an exaggerated adolescence. It's about like leaving your family and deciding who you are, except it's in this, really like exaggerated kind of like dystopian landscape. So I think those are feelings everyone can connect to, even if they're not a teenager anymore. You kind of remember what that felt like.
I remember actually going to the theater to see the first movie, and I was like, "What is this? Oh my God!" And like Shailene Woodley, I feel like we didn't even really know who she was too much when this came out. This was just after that movie with George Clooney, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was after that, and then the only thing she had done before that was The Secret Life of the American Teenager, so everyone was like, "Can she do this?" Absolutely she can.
Right. So, what do you think we could, as a society right now, take from rereading or rewatching the movies?
I mean, mostly when it comes to books, I just hope that people, like, have fun with them, I think that's important right now, right? Low
Mhm.
like, de-stressing activities, but, I don't know, I think the books kind of try to communicate that people are complex and nuanced individuals and that you can't really, like, shove them into little categories, and that's what we love to do. So, my hope is always that they remind people that the people around them are going through a lot of things, so it's good to keep that in mind.
I know. I mean, especially now, I feel like there's so much under the surface. Just because you have a smile on your face and you look like you have everything together doesn't mean that's what's going on underneath.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so it's the 10th anniversary. The books are getting re-released. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I have a visual aid.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah, they
oh,
have new cover art and they have some special content in the back, like deleted scenes and like essays and stuff like that.
nice. So, what's it like when you go into a bookstore and you see your work right there on the table? What's that feeling like the first time?
Oh man, I don't even remember the first time. I think I was so nervous I couldn't even really register it. But it never stops being cool. I mean, that's sort of like where my dream as an author kind of stopped. All the other stuff kind of was a bonus on top of it. But seeing your book on the shelf and knowing that anyone can pick it up and read the back and become interested in it is like the dream.
I know. I was just thinking about that with Bridgerton. I mean, just so random that someone would be reading it who just happens to be a huge producer and decides to turn your book into a movie. What's that like? I mean, I'm sure like the vision was just getting the book out there, but then when it turns into this whole culture and fan base and I'm sure like a Comic-Con kind of thing too, that must be like crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of like, really? The whole time. But I mean, I'm trying to remember much about it, but I think really like it becomes something that belongs to other people the second that it is released. So really it's a win-win situation for an author because at worst they're like, "Oh, the book was better than the movie." And at best then it just introduces your work to a lot more people than would be able to see it or exposed to it like at
Right.
any other time. So for me it was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Okay,
Please
and just so
adapt
you
it.
know, the books are always better than the movie, people. Like
Usually, yeah.
I love when they're like so surprised, but there's just so much more detail in a book, and plus your imagination is way
Right.
better than any movie you could go see.
You heard it here first, folks. Read books.
Right? So tell me what's next? What's your summer going to be like this year?
Well, I had a book for my first book for adults, Chosen Ones, come out last year at the first week of our lockdown here in Illinois. So it was like the worst time to be thinking about books. So I'm still sort of like processing that, but it came out in paperback on Tuesday. So I'm kind of hoping it gets like a little bit of a second chance in my life because the
Mhm.
first time it came out, I was like, I can't even think about this.
Right.
So I'm kind of focusing on that right now. But as for what's next, I got a few things cooking, but nothing
Cool.
concrete. Yeah.
So the pandemic for you as a writer, is that I think what people assume is that, well, you're in the pandemic and you're at home, you have all this time to work, but that's not necessarily what happens. Is that true for you, or were you super creative during the time?
I would say for the first half of it, I couldn't get anything done. I was like everyone else. I was just refreshing the, whatever like pandemic page on the internet and really stressed out. And for no particular reason, like my life had not changed. Like you say, I'm usually at home alone. So this was like not new. But
Mhm.
then the second half of the year, I got used to the kind of global situation and I was able to do a lot of creative work. Yeah. So it turned into a really fruitful creative year, but it took like 6 months to get there. I couldn't read, I couldn't do anything. I don't
I
know
know.
how people were productive in that time.
I know. I feel like we're finally at a point where we're used to working at home. We got the routine down. We're good. We figured things out. And now we have to go back to the office.
Yeah, now it's like get used to going to your local coffee shop again because they need you.
Right? I know, exactly. Well, tell us, where can we go for more information about you and your books and the movies and just everything?
Yeah, you can go to my website at veronicarothbooks.com. And then I'm also pretty active on Instagram at vrothbooks.
Great. I just tagged you in a post, so
Oh, great. I'll look for it.
thank you so much for taking time to talk about the 10th anniversary of Divergent. It's one of our favorites. And I know every time it comes on TV, the kids, even though my kids are like in their 20s now, they're still like, oh, let's watch it again. So
Oh,
thank
that's
you so
awesome.
much for giving that. I mean, that's part of it too. I think you've really given the gift of family time for people and memories. And that's all a part of it as well. It's not just the words, it's not just the movie, it's what you've given to the families at home.
Man, well, that's really nice to hear. And, that's never like the thing you think will happen when you release a book, but I mean, that's really excellent. So I'm glad if people can have good family time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.